You all know how I'm a sucker for Die Hard ripoffs, so if one of my favorite action stars, Dolph Lundgren, stars in one of these things, you know I'm going to be all in. I review Command Performance next on Drew Reviews. So, guys, you know how I like Die Hard ripoffs. I don't care if they're on a boat or in a hockey arena, or in this case, they're in a concert hall. It's Dolph Lundgren's 2009 movie Command Performance, which he not only starred in, also wrote and directed and played the drums for real in. Uh, we'll get to that in a second. Basically, this movie, you've got the president of Russia, and him and his daughters are coming to see this concert by Venus, who's this big pop star like Britney Spears, or I don't know who would be today's equivalent to that. Maybe Lady Gaga or something. Who knows? Pop music's not my thing. Well, they're going to this show, and these terrorists end up coming in. And it just so happens that the drummer in the opening band is this guy named Joe with this dark past, played by Dolph Lundgren. The terrorists come in and they start shooting everybody. And they basically get the president and his family and a couple of high-ranking officials like into this personal box, and they're holding them there hostage. In the meantime, Joe, I think he was smoking a J down in the bathroom. He hears gunfire, and about the only other survivor in this place is like the head of the presidential security, and so it's the two of them, and they're going through taking out bad guys, and it's phenomenal. Dolph Lundgren's performance in this is great. He plays that big stoic guy very well, but he's also got a little bit of the rocker side to him in this, which comes across in some of the one-liners. And the one-liners and the kills in this movie are fantastic. The first guy he ends up fighting, it's just like this bare knuckle thing, and the guy's trying to stab him with a knife, and he takes his drumsticks out of his pants and sticks it up through his chin and out his eye. It was fantastic. And then there's another kill where all these bad guys are on stage, they're getting ready to execute some people, and he turns the volume up on this guitar and hits this note, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh!" He takes the guitar, breaks it over a guy's head, and then takes the broken guitar neck and impales a guy with it. That was phenomenal. Just absolutely love that kill. Where it kind of fails is I wish there was a better one-liner there. When he gets the one guy with the sticks, he's like, "Ugh, watch the hair, dude." That's what I'm talking about. It was just fun. The main guy who plays the head of the presidential security, he's all right in this role. They build a pretty close bond, although at a couple different points he doesn't trust him when he turns his gun on him. It's funny because Dolph's character of Joe doesn't like guns. There's this whole backstory that they briefly get into about him and his brother. These Colombians came in and killed his brother, and guns take him to a scary place. It's almost kind of like The Rock in The Rundown. But then there comes a point where they're shooting hostages where he's like, "Oh no, it's time to lock and load," you know. So I kind of like how that was played out. Dolph Lundgren's daughter plays one of the presidential daughters in this. She reminds me, honestly, of like a young Cameron Diaz or something, facially. But I saw her and I'm like, I've seen her somewhere before, and she was actually in Castle Falls from 2021, which I'm going to review on this channel. But yeah, the girl who's mimicking the dances that the pop star Venus does in the box, and making the president do this, that's actually Dolph Lundgren's daughter. I thought it was cool because they actually let her do some things. The terrorists like grab her by the wrists and pull her around, because I think at the time she was like 13 or something. So she gets to do a little bit of acting there. The Russian president in this movie I thought was a pretty good actor. He plays very good under stress. The whole backstory of this is he was an attorney, and the leader of this terrorist group, his parents ended up like committing suicide in this attempt at a Russian coup or something. And that whole side plot's a little bit vague, but it's basically revenge on this guy's part against the president, and that's why they're going in and taking this place over. And the bad guys, they're pretty good. They're kind of faceless, other than the lead guy. I don't have his name in front of me, but he was pretty decent. Him and Dolph have a really good fight there at the end. He has Dolph down, and Dolph takes the knife out of the guy's sheath there and stabs him with it, and then sticks his finger in the hole. It's a brutal fight. There at the end, he gets impaled right in front of like this cooling system, and I can't remember. It might have been the president. He ends up shooting, and the bullets go through him and this cooling system, and steam kind of comes out of him, like Bennett from Commando. I thought that was pretty cool. The rest of his goons, other than the main guy who was going to turn on him and he called him a traitor, they're all pretty faceless, just fodder for these guys to take out. The singer, Venus, I looked her up on IMDb, and she had been a dancer in things like Honey 2, which you'll never see me review on this channel. But she was okay in this. There's this exchange with her and Joe, and I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but as they're like trying to hide in the background just before he goes after these guys, he's like, when we get out of here, I'm going to need to renegotiate my royalty fee. And she's like, how can you think about business at a time like this? There's people dying out there. And Dolph goes, dying's easy, rock and roll is hard. And walks off. That was the best line in the whole movie. Other than he kills one guy and he's like, the show's over. I thought that was a pretty good one too. Yeah, that girl who plays Venus, she's pretty good. There's some delivery like that. There's people dying here that it was just okay at best. I don't know if that was really her singing, but the pop song she sings was a decent pop song. It's right along the lines of like Britney Spears or something. That, you know, a drum machine and a little hook and no talent. And you could do it. Dolph Lundgren, man, he's just a savant as a person. You know, not only was he like a chemical engineer and like a third-degree black belt in karate, but, you know, he's become an actor. He's a drummer. He's a director. He wrote this thing. Just mad props to Dolph Lundgren. That's why I'm always going to be a fan of his movies, even though he's got some stinkers. And, you know, I just did this Dolph Lundgren top 10 tier ranking, and I think this was number 9 on my list in my top 10. I'd have to go back and watch it. I know it was up there high, but one of the reasons why it's there is because of all the work he put into this thing. Like, I'm actually in a band, and when I saw him drumming, I was like, wow, he's actually doing that. You know, some of the fills, and I thought that was very impressive for a guy who had all this on his plate. So yeah, while some of his movies aren't the greatest, I'm still gonna probably go out of my way eventually and try to get them all watched. That tier ranking that me and Brandon Smith have been promising all year is coming. I was talking to him the other day, and it's probably coming right at the dawn of 2025. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, this movie I really enjoyed. It's on a lot of the free streaming sites like Tubi and Pluto TV and that kind of thing. Be sure and check it out if you've not done this. It's a lot of fun, a lot of action, a lot of suspense. It does kind of have, like I was talking with in my JCVD review, a little bit of the monochromatic thing. It's got that European grayish type deal. The only real con I had about this movie, and it goes back to the budget, this was a $6 million movie. The explosions are all CGI, and the first time I watched it, I didn't notice it, but this time I did. There's a scene where he's smoking some weed behind this door, and he hears something around the corner, and C4 goes off and just blows him backwards. And he's laying there. He's like, man, I got to stop doing this. That was great. But the explosion, I mean, they did the best with the budget they had. And there's a few other things where there's explosions and some smoke, and you can tell it's definitely CGI. But, I mean, I understand why they did it. So I can't downgrade the movie too much for that. Overall, I would give Command Performance a 7 out of 10, which is pretty high. I think it's a 5.5 on IMDb, which, you know me and IMDb. Guys, that's garbage. This movie's way better than a 5.5. I mean, objectively, it's at least like a 6.25. But me being a Dolph fan and all the elements there I like, I'm going 7 out of 10. Definitely worth your time if you just kind of want a fun, mindless movie. So guys, be sure and check out Command Performance. Be sure to like and subscribe. Ring the bell. I'm definitely going to get that Dolph tier ranking done, where I just talked about his top 10. We're going to talk about 30 or better movies of Dolph Lundgren for an hour or so. So be on the lookout for that. Not sure what I got coming up next after this. I think I've promised Magnum Force, the Dirty Harry movie. So that one will be coming fairly soon. So once again, thanks for watching. And as always, I'm Andrew, and I'll see you down the line on the next Drew Reviews.